Good evening, you fantastic and glorious human beings of this floating rock that we call Earth. It is Off the Wire, and I am your host, Noello Lynn, aka the Cajun Libertarian. We have a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. Let me give you the headlines here. Um, we may or may not have people joining the show. Who knows? It's going to be a fun night. So let's get to it. We're not going to be able to get to all these because look, if we're being honest, like the freaking news cycle is out of control. It's just 1,000 miles an hour. It never stops. There's no way to absolutely cover all of the content that needs to be covered when you have a family and a day job. Yeah. Yeah. We'll go through some of the topics that we'll talk about. Most of it's Trump for obvious reasons. Um, and it really, look, it's not really Trump, is it? He just seems to be like the center of the attention, and we need to address why these things are happening. And it just so happens to involve the Orange Man. So let's start with here 924. So this was a couple of days ago. I wasn't able to get to it. Politics suspected would-be assassin offered a bounty on Trump's head. Prosecutors revealed the Democratic owner also had a list of places Trump would be from August through October 24th. What? I'll come back to that. That's crazy. How on earth did this psychopath have the agenda of a former president all the way through October? Seems corrupt. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Trump demands Florida take over investigation into the second assassination attempt, and then Governor Ron DeSantis did it anyway. He didn't need Trump's uh, demand. Ron DeSantis was going to do it anyway. And then from today, 9/26, 2024, Eric Adams becomes first sitting New York City mayor indicted in historic federal probe, which this seems wildly inappropriate and so suspect. I don't want to give too much details, but we'll get into it. And then I want to get into some other stuff regarding the state of the church in America. I think it's wildly important, whether you're a believer or not. You're going to want to hear me out on this. I promise you, because it's incredibly important. And then Trump returning to the very site where he was shot. Not a huge story, but maybe the biggest Trump rally ever. So I think it's worth mentioning at the very least. So we got a couple comments already. Let's check those. Nick Murney already showed his first graphic with the cheers. And he says it's like that for election cycles. They pump out as much media as possible. I appreciate you breaking down what's important. That list is wild because I believe I read golfing out on I'm assuming he means on a golfing outing was an unplanned venue. Yes, it 100% was, which means that was insider information. I don't even know how you look, whatever side of the aisle you fall on. And I fall on neither. Bruh, what? What are we doing? It doesn't matter who the target is. A banana republic is disastrous, point blank, period. And what we're doing is crazy. Crazy. I also want to get to an audio and FBI. I'm going to start there, actually. I can't do the screen share part for some reason because the internet just doesn't want to work for me on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put back up my my display, in which the cheap display that I made myself in 12 seconds, just to show everybody what my Twitter handle is, because that's my most prominent platform since Facebook deleted me. But I want to play this, and I'll put that up, and then I'm gonna play this, and it's just gonna be audio, which actually I kind of appreciate, if I'm being honest, because it makes for better concentration. All right, let me put this up. Let's go. Nope, or not. Okay. Look, that is an absolutely astonishing revelation from an FBI informant that you can hear his voice is shaking. He's nervous. Now, a lot of that is going to be because people suck at public speaking, right? Or most people they hate that. But how much of that is the man doesn't want to be killed? Like, yo, listen to what he said. buy food, ammunition, figure out a way for clean water. And then, as I'm always going to say, which is always relevant, which is the most important thing by far, and that's get right with Jesus Christ. You can have the conversation with me. We can have the debate. We can have the argument on about whether or not the deity of Jesus Christ is real. Come on the show. I, that is my main expertise, is biblical knowledge. Secondary is political. Most importantly, cultural. Which is why I'm more closely aligned with libertarianism than anything else. It's because I can see how evil the state is. It's literally ran by demons. We need to talk about this. Okay, my wife is saying, did anyone hear the audio? Could you not? Because that would be crazy. I hope you could. If you didn't know, quick recap. Dude was just saying he's an FBI whistleblower that's retiring, who's scared for his life, saying you need to stock ammo, food, and ammunition. Or I'm sorry, ammo, food, and clean water. And he also said for at least 3 to 4 months, which is crazy. Number one, by far, get right with Jesus Christ, period. At least explore the idea that there's a God and his name is Jesus Christ. Just explore it, because what we're going through is unprecedented, and I'll prove it. Let's see. Let me go to my phone real quick and go to this. Oops, sorry. Apparently, and I'm not gonna even try to confirm these sources because I don't know that they're true. However, if it is true, then we have massive problems on our hands. Apparently, 9 missiles were launched into United States airspace, allegedly targeted at Donald Trump's plane. Do the people that have the extreme hate for Donald Trump just not care about this? Like, is that a thing that's okay with you? That just because it was allegedly his plane and allegedly multiple airstrikes in illegal in United airspace, not a problem for you? Like, where are we drawing the lines of standards here? At what point do you say enough is enough? Honestly. Honestly. At what point? This is crazy. Under no circumstances should any country allow missiles into their territory for a former politician, whether it be Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, or otherwise. What are we doing? This is like supporting the invasion at the southern border and dropping off 20,000 Haitians in a town of 50,000 people. Whose side are you on? Is the orange man bad? The TDS that freaking significant in polluting your entire mental faculty that you can't see how a lot of this stuff is absolutely off the rails? This is psychotic. Under no circumstances should we as Americans support this. We have to maintain a country. I'm asking someone else besides my wife to please comment and say that they heard what I played through the phone, please. Now, I want to get to some other even just it's just it honestly I said I promoted it on the front end of it being an ask me anything type of episode slash apocalyptic update, but I think we're gonna stay on the latter because I don't know what else to do. It certainly feels like half the country is completely okay. And when I say half, I mean the binary option of the two-party system, right? Not everybody is on board with that. I know. I know. I'm not. I'm not. However, the vast majority of the American populace is. So that's the system that we operate underneath. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. And according to multiple polls, there are a large swath of people on the left that would literally see the world burn down to the ground than have a figure like Donald Trump even put a speed bump in the way of totalitarianism, which is wild because they claim that dude to be the fascist. And yes, he has done fascist things. That's not a lie. It's okay to say that. He impeded on the free market system via government controls. It's okay to say that. But to act like that the Democrats haven't been worse is completely psychotic. It's out of control. Before we move on to the next one, let's play something funny. Let me find something. We need to make it a little bit more lighthearted. I love this clip so much. I can't get over it.
But immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
I can't get over that comment. It's crazy. That's a real interview. Dude really said that. And then we all got caught up on during the debate with Kamala and Trump. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And that just went crazy. It was incredible. I loved it, all of it. And that dude's interview was wildly awesome. It's just so genuine, you know? Again, I don't know. I can't get anybody to respond on whether or not you could hear the audio on the snippet that I played off the phone. So I guess we'll just move on. This is from a couple of days ago, but I have to address it. Suspected would-be assassin offered a bounty on Trump's head. Prosecutors revealed the Democratic donor also had a list of places Trump would be from August through October. What? How? Okay, let me play this. That's funny. Fake news. They're eating the duck. They're eating the ducks in the parks and removing the heads and walking off with them. Yep, it was totally fake news. They're really eating the pets. That's not. Don't believe any freaking lie that Twitter has to offer or Facebook fact check. No, man, they're eating. Like, there's a prominent culture in the Haitian country, in the Haitian culture. Voodoo is a real thing, and sacrificing cats is one of them. All right, the Democratic donor also had a list of places that Trump would be from August through October 2024. Federal prosecutors revealed in a Monday filing, remember this from a couple of days ago, that Ron Ruth, a 58-year-old Democratic donor suspected of trying to assassinate Kamala Harris's opponent on September 15th, previously offered an international bounty on President Trump's head and had foreknowledge of Trump's whereabouts. How did he have foreknowledge of the former president's whereabouts? Man, wake up. That's not possible without insider information. And we ain't heard a damn word about it since. Quote, it's up to you to finish the job now. According to the filing in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of Florida, a civilian witness suppressed law enforcement days after Ruth's September 15th arrest, indicating that the suspected would-be assassin had dropped off a box at the residence several months prior. What? What? Restricted as to say, because I'm just dumbfounded. There's a 0% chance this is by accident. None whatsoever. And yeah, I think you'd be a fool to even consider anything otherwise. Restriction says conservatives need to watch movies. Movies always tell the truth. The Serpent and the Rainbow with the Bill Pullman was about Haitian voodoo and animal sacrifice. The crew had to flee Haiti because of cannibals. Yes. Very real. Like, this is not in question. It's wild. And now we have dude got shot in the face, had to be evacuated from his golf course. Now we find out that the dude that was trying to execute him, that they were trying to say wasn't somehow an attempted assassination, confesses and offers a ransom. But Whoopi Goldberg is going to go on The View and say there's only rhetoric coming from one side, and it being Trump and the Republicans. But what? No sane person believes it. Not one. Restricted. The Time magazine that had his golf cart in a trap just days before. Yeah. It's incredible. It's just wild. I'm so lost as to how anybody could believe this, because there's no real way you could look at this scenario and conclude otherwise. They just hate this guy. And they want him dead. And if that's true, I want to know why. I've never voted for Trump. I've never advocated for anyone voting for Trump. I'm a libertarian. I typically vote Libertarian Party. Typically meaning I voted one time in 2020. I didn't vote again. I had not voted prior to that for 2 decades. And that one I regretted immensely. It was George W. Bush. War was gross. Anyway, everybody knows that stuff. You know what? Let me bring somebody on before we cover this next subject. And let's see what he has to say about what I just said. Zach from Legacy. I'm gonna bring you on real quick. What do you think about all that I just said? I'm gonna give you the floor.
What's up? What's up? First off, if anybody's hasn't seen that cover, that's eerie. Yeah, makes you wonder that it's all a psyop.
Wow.
Everything's a psyop, in my opinion. I mean, what is it? You got all these love or hate Trump. You have all these different assassination attempts, foiled or semi-successful. I mean, and it just tells you. And then, and then on top of that, you have Joe Biden, who is basically not the president. He's the president, but not the president. It kind of shows you the intelligence apparatus has controlled the executive branch since November of 1963. Really, it goes that far. I mean, that's my take on it.
I would say it goes further than that.
Oh, it probably yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that was the marker in which that America really lost its place, and we all found out, inadvertently or not, and later or not, that the intelligence apparatus was actually the ones that were in charge of the country and not the president. I think that was the defining marker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then now it's just at this point it's just all theater anymore because you have social media and you don't necessarily know what to believe because I mean you have AI, you have social media that's in a frenzy and everybody wants to share their piece in their echo chambers and I mean and then you have mainstream or what I like to call the corporate press that really doesn't want to air real stories of what's going on. They want to make sure that uh, they have a lockdown on the official narrative, and so where does that leave us? That leaves us at political theater. It's just a game. It's a show. Yeah, everybody has a role. Everybody has a gimmick. It's literally, it's like watching WWE in real time. It really is.
it really is. I think you're spot on. So, let me read these two comments from Restricted, and let's see what we can extrapolate from that. It says continued. Why can't I see the whole thing? That's weird. Anyway, I can tell you why the stock markets, millennials were.
He has a second. I think he has another comment that continues.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Due to stocks in 2020, boomers freaked. I made $500,000 on these things. Didn't sell, sadly. And then Devin Nunes said that Trump will address naked short selling in the market, which killed the SAMC and GME short squeezes. Look, I am not a stock market guy, nor do I believe that there's any real value in it outside of the things that we place in it. Am I misunderstanding something here? Like, I don't think this has anything to do with what we've been talking about at all. Am I wrong?
I mean, if I had to guess, and I'm not a big stock guy either, but it's just the way that the stocks are the way the stock market operates, it works within the political economy for the most part. I mean, it's basically all fiat. So, I don't know, depending on policies, certain stocks will go up, certain stocks will go down. I mean, it kind of, I mean, it from a historical perspective, it almost takes me back to like 1815, where you leak a false narrative to where it short sights stocks through the Bank of England, through the stock exchanges of England, for which Rothschild and his cronies were able to capitalize and double down on cheap stocks when everybody else sold off, freaking out that, hey, the Duke of Wellington has lost. Napoleon's victorious. Turns out that wasn't the truth. They ended up selling off, or they ended up buying off assets and bonds for reasonably cheap, and they were able to essentially buy the whole of England. So like that's where I mean that in itself is stock manipulation, and that I think that's what
Essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean I want you to continue your thought process, but I want to say this thing real quick, and then you keep going. Essentially, what you're saying is central banking is bad.
Yeah, central banks is obviously bad. You know, and central banking's basically the catapult for endless wars, decrepit decadence because of decaying culture. Because when you don't have a value in money, because you keep on creating new money that distributes wealth from the peasants to a single few to control all of it, then you don't really have a reasonable culture. And you're out, and then nowadays you're seeing that exactly as it goes to in today's realm, where you're seeing a decay in culture. You're seeing a flood of immigrants into the country, legal or otherwise, legal or illegal, whatever you want to. Doesn't matter. The fact is it's being propelled to coax our culture into decline, separate everybody from those who are in control, create chaos. Meanwhile, everybody else is fighting over if a man can bang another man, a woman can bang another woman, or kids can be trans. I mean, and that's just a distraction. So,
Okay, I'm going to push back on that. I'm going to push back because I think that's wildly more important. Actually, I think the demonic influence that has captivated the left is far more influential in the culture and how I don't think we can even start with a conversation of how bad the Federal Reserve is, central banking, and how it's done promoted forever wars throughout history, and it collapses every nation whatsoever. If we can't even talk to these people about, bruh, you can't trans the kids.
no.
You're
Sure.
psychotic. I
Yeah.
can't even have a financial, just a fundamental economic situation, a conversation just on basic economics, right? Which is fundamentally what you're addressing here. And that's a great thing to address, and it has to be addressed. But how am I supposed to have a conversation with these psychopaths that think 4-year-old boys can make up their own minds to be little girls and then they ruin their entire life? How am I supposed to get to the conversation, to the Fed, if I can't even start there?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, actually, Nick right there has a great question right there. Both of these assassins were in the same BlackRock commercial. How coincidental?
Unconfirmed about this. I need to say this for relative issues. Unconfirmed about the second assassin. Very much confirmed about the first attempted assassin.
Yeah, the first one.
Sorry.
Yeah, the first one definitely. The second one rumored. It's pretty interesting that we're hearing BlackRock after Trump's assassination attempts. Very interesting. So it all comes down to the economic sense that the central bank and all of it in the CIA, because we all know BlackRock's a CIA operation. All these hedge funds and these asset management companies, mostly Feds, pretty much. I mean, these are who control the empire. These are who control all the outstretched departments in our federal government, even our state governments, even as low as our local governments, as well as in the world institutions as well. So like they're in promotion of this global order that's just financed in death, destruction, sickness, and for what? Because it's all about power and control.
Let me
for some reason, no,
go ahead. No, go
oh,
keep going.
no, and for some odd reason, this narrative that Trump is against democracy. I mean, which is entirely laughable. I mean, so are the Democrats if that's the case. But
Right.
I mean, the fact is they see Trump for what he is, whether for all the wrongs that he's done in his first term, the way that he's pretty much been set in stone with the state, being this anti-establishment outsider, really just a statist. He's against the status quo because he wants Trump quo. Let's just put it that way. He wants Trump quo. He wants to be a part of. So he wants to put his influence into the spin and go against the grain. So
I want to invite Restricted onto the live.
Amen, brother.
And let's see what we have to talk about. What he says right here, for those of you listening later. I love how the woke right will simp for boomer landlords, but they are against BlackRock for doing the same thing in housing capitals. LOL. Restricted, are you willing to come on to the show? Because that is very much something that I would akin towards communism. Even if not, you've been a very honorable commenter on the show. If you're willing to come on, I will give you an invite in the next 5 minutes. We're only 40 minutes into this podcast. We have plenty of time to bring you on, and let's talk about it. Nick McKimmey, do these so-called controllers have a list of staff? Because they dang sure have a red list as a blue list. Yeah, bro, you're not wrong. Like, and that's kind of like the underlying point or the underpinning point of the whole show. Is like it seems to be that all of the interference in justice reform, quote unquote, is coming from the left to the right, and never any self accountability. And that's a huge, huge problem. Restricted says, I don't have the setup for live right now, but definitely in the future. All right, keep me posted, bro. You're welcome on the show. We're going to talk about it anytime. How are landlords at fault for missed shots? That's like the most simplistic response to that comment that we talked about from Restricted. I love how the woke right will simp for boomer landlords, but they are against BlackRock for doing the same exact thing. LOL.
Of
You want
course.
to respond?
I mean, of course, speaking of BlackRock and soaring housing market prices, and I mean, it's all about value. It's all about controlling the market, right? Just like having that monopoly, like what communism truly, or socialism rather, excuse me, to all you commies out there that want to be literal commies. I mean, utopia doesn't exist, but I mean, socialism is monopoly. So communism is the goal to that monopoly being solidified. So it would make sense to embrace the fascist idea of the socialist wing, right? Because communism will never be achieved, because communism relinquishes the control of the state monopoly effectively, at least according to Marx, right? So stateless utopia. So now you're in this murky waters of fascism, utilizing private partners for public monopoly in order to control markets. And one thing that they do is they control what is essentially the chaos of the aftermath of certain disasters. Whether you want to go down the conspiratorial rabbit hole of, say, the Maui fires and say it was a government plot or it was a freak incident that was taken advantage of, that in itself is another that's seemingly intriguing because BlackRock's moved in, asset management funds like BlackRock have moved in on that. You see Bill Gates trying buying up, and China buying up American land. I mean, in order to control like food supply. I mean, and all this is affecting the housing market, and that's why you're seeing, and that's one of the many reasons why you're seeing, besides inflation and interest rates being jacked up, that's one of the reasons why you're seeing like somebody's one-story single-family ranch home that was just maybe 2 or 3 years ago like $100,000 even. I mean, is now soared up to like 300, maybe even $400,000 for a ranch home.
So the comments are piling in, which is awesome. DEW is real. What do you mean by that, Nick? And Nick, you're invited on, bro. Like, you've been killing it. I want people that know what they're talking about on the show. I don't care if they have 4 followers. If they know what they're talking about and they have an absolute positive impact on America, I want you on the show. All right, restricted. Monopoly, and thus no free market. Shapiro said BlackRock is part of a free market. Ben Shapiro's dumb. I am smart. Yeah. You had me in the first half. You lost me in the second. Yeah, he's absolutely wrong if that's what he said. And there's a lot of crap. Oh, I guess I should pop back on here. My bad, y'all. There we go. Yeah, Ben Shapiro has a lot of horrible takes, but he's not dumb. That's a very brilliant human being. So I would say in his case, a lot of the time, don't just contribute, don't discontribute malice for incompetence. I would say some of these people that are wildly intelligent, like Ben Shapiro, you can absolutely contribute malice over incompetence. Nick, it goes all the way back to the Keysight Industries and Santa Rosa fires. Ooh, I am not aware. Do you know anything about this?
I'm not too savvy on it, but I think I know what he's referencing is the do comment.
Oh.
Direct energy weapons. So.
Oh yeah, I know DEW.
Yeah. So like, there's no. I mean, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past our own government to use direct energy weapons to cause an event like Maui or the Santa Rosa fires, or even or any wildfire for that matter, just to create something to bring in a government solution, basically, or a government partnership solution. So
I would actually say it's, if you're a logical human being, I would say it was more likely that it's direct energy weapons versus a natural disaster. After everything we've seen since COVID.
I mean, it's just out of the blue. I mean, you don't see anything happen like that. Their whole electrical grid was literally just blown out. Like, how does that happen? Just, there's no way that it was not updated. It had to have been updated, unless it was just so old that they were using a power grid from the 50s, which I wouldn't put it past. I mean, our power grid all across the country, it needs an upgrade, big time.
Right. All right. I want to move on from things that we can't prove to things that are even more impossible to prove. So
Well, I can prove one thing though. We're going back to the
Sure.
Middle East. We're going back.
Here we go. Here we go. Go for it. Go for it.
Oh, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying off of this article that I've been reading and the talk on Twitter. It just looks like the U.S. is sending additional troops to the Middle East to kind of be. It looks more like they're going to be observers to Israel in their Hezbollah fights. American troops.
Who?
Huh?
Well, obviously they're not.
Yeah. Oh no, we're there to be prepared for another fight, just in case Iran decides to get in, and who knows?
Iran would never be that stupid. No, it's just an
Iran-
intimidation factor.
Yep. Either that, or it's a way for Israel to start their shenanigans and attack Iran, or maybe even attack the United States like they did with the USS Liberty, with a false flag, blame it on Iran, and we attack Iran. Now I'm going down conspiracy land. Move on.
Yeah, you're going down conspiracy land. Let's come back to verifiable truth that cannot be verified. Let me ask you this, Zach. Governor Ron DeSantis said federal officials were not cooperating with the state investigation. Florida charges would be much more serious than the ones the FBI announced. Now, this is in total regard to the attempted assassination against which we know now is proven by the guy hiding in the bushes on Mar-a-Lago. What do you think about, number one, do you think that's a good thing that the state would take over of an investigation that would involve a former president, aka federal investigation? And do you think that it's constitutional that a state could do that?
Constitutional. I'd have to look into that a little bit further. I think actually it would be constitutional, actually, because
I think it would. Yeah, federal.
Yeah, because federal. Yeah, anything the federal government can't or the states can't sustain to, it automatically goes back to the states. And then the other thing, there should be a couple investigations. Obviously, the feds aren't doing a thorough investigation. They already have their man, and Florida needs to step in. It happened in Florida. Why not have a secondary opinion of a thorough investigation? That way you can get to the straight facts, and then, if need be, Florida can also charge him with something heavy, and then he's looking at both federal and state charges, which means he's pretty much double F. I mean, he's done.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's out of control if Ron DeSantis allows state charges against Trump, which I don't think that's going to ever happen.
Oh, against Trump?
No.
Oh, I thought you were,
against Trump.
Against Trump. I mean, same thing. I thought you were talking about the assassin. But against Trump, it's same thing in my opinion. If the state wants to investigate for a second, deeper opinion, let them. I mean, at that point, maybe you can get the facts straight, see what's actually going on. It might. I mean, the federal government, the federal agencies, the FBI, they're obviously compromised with the Trump scenario. So, I mean, why not get a clean slate on an investigation, and then check it with the federal facts and see if they all lay side by side with one another.
No way you trust any of that.
Do I trust any of it?
Yeah, no way. No way that any sane person would trust any of that.
But do I think that it's probably best for maybe another secondary investigation? Sure. Do I trust it? I mean,
should be.
No, I do. Of course I don't trust it. Fuck this thing.
So,
Excuse my language.
yes, please don't block that out, y'all. This is a family-friendly show. Nick McKinney, or even deeper in the rabbit hole, we are redistributing our forces to not have a huge defense capability when the waves of migrants go on the offensive, coupled with condition yellow events. Look up yellow events if you don't know that, or yellow cards. It's going to be a variety of ways that you're going to have to find that one. Yeah, man, I think that's the real actual issue, regardless of the psyops of President Donald Trump. I look, okay, I'll be completely honest. If you're an open borders person, especially a libertarian, you're stupid. You're not only stupid, you're dangerous, you're evil. And this is proven why. Because there's no amount of open borders that can be sustained in a situation where it won't be used politically. And likewise, even controlling the borders, controlling the borders will be used politically. But at least there's a way we can vet these people and say, yo, look, this is outrageous. You have to have a valid reason to be here, or else you need to go home. And we shouldn't have to tell people to go home. They should just be disincentivized of coming here illegally, period, until we stop the flow. There's a lot of comments here. I'm going to give you the stage so I can check these. Is there anything that you want to say? Because I'll give you this headline right here. This is today. Because of the mass illegal migration being poured into our country, taking over every social welfare system that libertarians oppose, conservatives pretend to want to restrict, and Democrats wildly promote. None of that matters. They're pouring into our country. And now we have another potential indictment on Eric Adams, the New York City mayor. And there's a lot of conspiracy going around and a lot of rumor going around, and I'm not against it, that he is being targeted by the intelligence apparatus for saying you cannot just let the country be flooded with immigrants. Zach, do you have some nuance on that, or just your own opinions? Either way, go for it. I'm going to check these comments.
My own opinion on Eric Adams and his indictment. I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it. The fact is he probably should be indicted on something because he's a crook. But at the same time, I kind of agree with you. In the rumors that maybe it is a fed up. Maybe because he has been adamantly well spoken against this migrant chaotic event. That's just what we'll call it. This influx of migrants coming in and taking over. So, great way to segue and take somebody out and put somebody in that's a little bit more intertwined with the intelligence apparatus. That's more intertwined, closer with Washington rather than New York. I mean, that's basically the downfall of New York anyways, is it's too close with Washington. It's Washington, Wall Street. So, and as far as the migrant situation in general, I mean, you can't have an open border scenario with a welfare state. There's too many people in this country on welfare demanding that they stay on their welfare and get their welfare, whether it's Social Security, disability, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever. And then you have migrants being flooded in here getting their own personal EBT cards, I've seen it myself, getting cars. They're getting cars. And you can tell when they're driving their own cars given to them by the government. There's no license plate because they're not legal. So they can't have a license plate. If you're lucky, I mean, and nobody's going to stop them in these blue cities and maybe even the red cities too, because nobody really cares. It really is like history repeats itself as empires fall, and this happened with Rome. I mean, this happened with Great Britain. I mean, it's decay. I mean, migrants are inflooded in order to replace the. I'm not going into delving into the Great Replacement theory, but it's a replacement of the lack of work, while at the same
It's
time
the replacement. It's the replacement of anyone who values the traditional American idea of exceptionalism. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. I mean, but it's a way to gain access to new resources of people, right? So the Romans brought in order to fight their endless wars, they needed more soldiers. They needed a new soldier base, so they brought in migrants. They trained them. They trained them in Roman ways. They trained many of them were trained in the academics as well. I mean, and then they sent them home in order to tame the German. I mean, you get what I'm saying? So, and then what did that do? What did that happen? Well, now you have these trained Germans, these trained barbarians in Roman customs, Roman soldiering, Roman politics, I mean, Roman culture, and they go and they rile up and rally and teach their own people, and then they come back to Rome at the gates and they conquer it effectively. They didn't necessarily conquer it, but they conquer it, and down goes Rome. And that's what we're seeing here in the end of the American Empire. We're seeing it a little different, but I'm going to laugh at people that don't realize that many of these illegals are probably going to find themselves as police officers down the road.
That's already happening.
Yeah. I mean, they've already been, there's already illegals that have actually fought in like Iraq and Afghanistan as American soldiers. So we know there's illegals and as cops. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so let me ask you this just for clarification on the original question. Eric Adams becomes first sitting New York City mayor indicted in historical federal probe. Claims feds persecuting him over the migrant crisis. This is from today, from the Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's telling the truth?
England. I think he's telling a half truth. I think there's more to it, but I think he's telling a half truth because I do think
yes,
there's something going on where they're trying to remove him. It's almost like tenfold repeating of Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. I mean, everybody praised him.
Very good. That's very good.
Mm-hmm. Full circle. They praised him for how he did COVID, but then I forget exactly what he did to get. I know that it was like
Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, but something.
He sent elders to nursing homes to die.
Well,
he sent people with there were COVID patients. He sent to nursing homes, and they all died. There was like 50,000 seniors that died in New York, or something crazy like that. Don't fact check me, YouTube. I'm speaking off the hip here.
Yeah, but I mean, that's true, and certainly the right of the political spectrum agrees with that. The left says that's a good idea. That's great. I mean, we save lives by murdering a bunch of old people. But I forget what catapulted the original
typical Democrat Party, right? Look, we want to kill babies to save lives. What? What?
Yeah.
You're,
Yep.
you're psychopaths.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
anti-human, anti-liberty psychopaths. And then while they claim to have liberty, now I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you that I think it's a mixed bag when it comes to the Eric Adams situation. I think every politician is corrupt, which is what blows my mind about Trump,
Mm-hmm.
because the guy was a New York City Democrat real estate agent, billionaire for years. And this is the best you can find on him. There's no chance. There's not one chance this guy isn't guilty of way more. But the reason they won't come forth on it is because they're freaking guilty. Everybody is guilty. They're all blood sucking psychopaths that would rather see your children die in war so that they can
Mm-hmm.
collect their stocks, just like Nancy Pelosi. Maybe Trump has been a little different, and he's proven to be a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But he has not proven to me that they're not all in the same camp and they're just vampires.
Mm-hmm. I'll push back a little bit on Trump being a New York Democrat. Yes, he is, but at the same time, he's from New York, and the best way to make a deal in the most dirty, corrupted way is to deal with Democrats, because the Democrats, especially in New York, are crooks. They've always been crooks. They're easier to deal with. The mob love dealing with Democrats because they were easy to bribe.
This is actually a good post from Restricted, or a good comment. Sorry. Thank you, Restricted, so much. Thank you, everyone. Nick, Zach, man, you're just a beast waiting anytime to get online. I want to read this. Abortion is only committed by pump and dumps who are not attracted. I'm I'm gonna assume that it's supposed to be to marriage. However, it says for marriage. Yes, I don't. There
Mm-hmm.
is no conversation to be had outside of if you're using abortion as contraceptive, then you're evil.
Mm-hmm.
Abortion should only be used for the life of the mother, and then we can have the concept. We can have the conversation about um, rape and incest, but we can't even start at a sane premise
Mm-hmm.
that you shouldn't kill innocent human beings because of convenience. That's crazy. All right, let's get to the last
Yeah.
topic, and then we're going to get up out of here because we're over an hour. This is from the Blaze today. Since there seems to be a coercion, or I'm sorry, since there seems to be a correlation between voting Christians and those who have heard sermons about the importance of voting, church leaders must do more. America is in a spiritual crisis. A nation that was founded on Christian principles, a nation that invoked God in its origins, a nation that has turned to the same God for nearly a quarter millennium, has nearly overnight rebuked him and has largely abandoned his truth. Case in point, the newest polling from renowned pollster George Barna finds that only 59% of practicing Christians say they will vote in the November 5th election. If church-going Christians wake up, then 80 million of America's 330 million people, that means only 48 million practicing Christians are headed to the polls. How much do you think that the church has an impact on the direction of the country and the world?
Anymore? Very little.
In any metric.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't say.
Do,
I
do,
mean, honestly.
do,
Hmm.
does the church have an impact on the world?
On the world, I think it has it has a humongous impact on the world, so long as you can stay on that path and that trajectory of knowing God's love and embracing love. But as far as the church and politics in the world, I don't think it does, unless you go deep down into the rabbit hole, into the secret signs that are plastered all over the Vatican. I mean, with the Pope, that's very satanic and pagan. I mean, if you actually look at it, but that's a different story. As far as like modern politics and like our politics, our elections, I don't think the church really has much to do with anything. I think we're so deep into this secularized uh, and polarized partisan political system that we're in, that we just don't have the time to even just think and care about our neighbor. So let alone embrace something as something like God.
Are you a Catholic?
I am a Catholic.
How much do you think that the Catholic Church bears responsibility for this?
I think the Catholic Church bears a lot of, historically speaking, I think the Catholic Church bears a lot of responsibility to why we are in the rut we are in today, because of the brutality and the corruption that they've embraced during their tenure as the new Rome, as the new Roman Empire. I mean, anti-Christian Roman Empire at the height of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. So I think that it does go back to the evils and the corruptions of the church, to where we are at today with statism, and why people think that the state is better than God, because you see the evils of man inside of the circles of the church, especially the Catholic Church historically. So
Do you consider the Catholic Church to be a contributor of the advancement of state worship?
on a political sense, yeah, because it wasn't about the worshiping and the love of God. It was about worshiping the state of Rome and the Pope at the throne of Rome, and collecting the money for the riches of those that were in the Vatican. It was just all about power and control. And now we look at today, and we're in this atheistic, I mean, I say atheistic, but the state's a religion. The state is God. We're basically just replaying the same role, but it's secularized. It's kind of flipped. So we went from corrupted church in the Vatican, using God as the staple for power and control of man over the peasantry through classes, to the state holding the monopoly and holding that power and control over the peasantry class through the classes. And you have this class hierarchy from the top to the bottom. Again, we're just repeating ourselves. It's just, instead of utilizing God as the face, it's the state. I mean, and I think we need to go back and turn back to God. We need to completely do what the founders tried to do: keep religion and government separated. And we haven't done that.
But they didn't say that, though.
Well, they said it through the amendment.
Which
But
one?
you're right, they did. The First Amendment through the freedom of religion. But
Sure, sure. But most people are going to reference what you say right there as being separation of church and state, which is not a constitutional amendment. It's
well,
not in the
it's,
Constitution whatsoever.
you're right. You got me there. You're right. You trumped me there. No pun intended.
Trump. No, I wasn't trying to. I'm just, I'm trying to flesh out and figure out what is the best pathway forward, because I actually don't believe it's going to be constitutional. I think that both parties absolutely hate the Constitution, and they would be glad to have it dissolved. I think the argument really lies into what is
I'm gonna push back on
freedom.
that. I think they love the Constitution, but they hate the Bill of Rights. That's in the way. The Bill of Rights is in the way. But they do love that Constitution because I mean, there's a couple clauses in there that really grants them some tyrannical powers. The Commerce Clause and the General Welfare Clause. That's the misinterpretation, or maybe it's truly the interpretation of that has actually helped propel to tyranny.
I actually think you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I put that comment up there from Restricted that Vivek Ramaswamy is the way. Vivek Ramaswamy is the most brilliant dude in politics right now. And he's absolutely the link between conservatism and libertarianism. He is, I believe he's the one in Trump's ear saying, you get elected, you free Ross Ulbricht, you abolish the Department of Education, you just get rid of almost all of it. I do believe that wholeheartedly. Going back to what we said, no, I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think the Constitution is probably dead.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to look for an outlet that doesn't involve violence. And that's just a fact, right? But the Bill of Rights does call for active warfare against a tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way we can not go that route?
The blockchain.
Huh?
Utilizing the blockchain. I mean, find your niche within the blockchain, and fork, node, and divorce from centralization through decentralized projects within the blockchain, creating new avenues of privacy coin and fast in an alternate currency and an alternate way of communication. You can use the blockchain just for about anything, not just about
So,
market transaction, but also communication. So
so what you're saying is become self-sufficient.
for the most part, self-sufficient. You don't have to use the blockchain and be a crypto nerd. You can be self-sufficient, grow your own garden, meet with somebody meet people in your community, go to farmers markets and meet those farmers that are selling there and build a relationship. Go to your festivals. Like, it's fall in most small towns. It's fall festival season. So go there, go walk the booths, go meet and greet people that are just in the crowd, meet friends there, and then just congregate and meet people. And you'll probably find somebody that's a farmer or does this and that needs help, and you can build a relationship with, and then you can give back to them what you can give, and they give you back what they can give. And it's kind of a trade-off, like a barter system type of technique. So building relationships. If you want to go political, and I'm going to be adamant on shouting out Mike DeCentralize's approach. You have to stay local. You have to focus on the local politics in order to nullify the the tyrannical laws of your state and the federal government. So you have to be able to get into the ear of your local sheriff. You have to get in with your council and grow a coalition of people that are MAGA, people that are conservative, people that are left liberal. I would say leftist, but they don't want anything part of that. Libertarians, even anarchists for that matter. You can build a coalition with one another, and you can take your local government through local elections, and then you can create laws locally that nullifies your state and the Fed. So it all just starts local, self sustainability and local.
Amen. I love it. We have well over 100 plus congruent viewers. I want everybody to follow Zach, my brother. Give your pitch on where should people follow you and how.
Oh, you can follow me at legacy_ZAK right there on the screen. ZAK, just at legacy_Zach. Also follow my boy and my co-host Andrew Joseph. He's at AI Conan 90. And you can also follow and check out my podcast for both of our perspectives and our discussions, which we've also had Noel on a couple times now. So
That's right.
you get him ranting and raving as well. So that's called the legacy. Yeah, that's called the legacy. Right? You can sub. You can sub. You can check us out and sub if you like over on YouTube. We're all over the podcast circuit: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, and that's pretty much about it. You can also find the Legacy Right on TikTok if you want to see some shorts. So, I mean, I'm trying to get it started there because we all have little tiny attention spans.
It's called a microwave society, and we all have to get these clips and tiny shorts. I hope it's not the case. I don't think it's always the case, considering that we have grown in viewership the entire time, and now there's 118 live congruent viewers listening to you, Zach. Tell us how you're important and how your voice matters. And so I thank you, bro.
I'm not important, but you know what? What is important is the message to get across to everybody to know that each and every one of us are important, just so long as we show them we're important by working hard, raising our families right, and fighting back the government through counter economics.
Sure, but I will push back and say that the fact that there are this many congruent live viewers right now, 118 plus, yeah, what you have to say is important. So thank you. And as always, go follow Zach, my man. He is incredible, up and coming star. Also, Zach, get a better freaking camera and a better freaking microphone and better lighting, dude. What are you doing?
Being broke. Or lazy, whatever you want to call it.
Lazy. I'm gonna call it lazy because you could do it for like less than $50.
Yeah. I got a good microphone. I don't know what's up with it, but I do need to get.
Yeah, you sound like you're in a can, bro. It's not a good microphone. It's not a good microphone.
Yeah. At least I thought of it.
Get a real microphone, get a real camera, and get a couple of freaking $14 lights, and show up like you're the boss that you are, my man. Come on.
We'll do. I do need to get the camera comes first, man. I'll try to figure something out. So
look, if y'all are concerned, help me out, help him out. You can contribute to my freaking PayPal account. You give me $50 and we'll buy this guy some real equipment because his voice is worthy to be heard. And we're tired of people that are smart enough and legitimate to be on camera and talk this talk and just not having basic camera and audio equipment. Come on, my guy.
I think it's time to go get one of them. What's the top mic these days? Sure. I think I'll drop some top dollar and go get a Shure mic.
That Shure mic that I have right here, I think was $250. Now that's for us poors. That's on the high end. I bought it when we got our taxes because that's what we do as the poors. We get a lump sum from the government that we should have never had to pay in the first place, and then we spend it on anti-government messaging.
Exactly.
So, anyway, you see that right there from what Nick says?
What's your Cash App?
Yeah, post your Cash App in the chat, bro.
I don't have.
Let's get you helped out, man. Get a Cash App.
I'm sorry, Nick. I don't have a Cash App.
Get a Cash App.
Yeah, man. You can go to if you really want to donate, you can donate to my Bitcoin or my Ethereum address over on Twitter.
Oh my god, bro! I'm not trying to download Bitcoin to control. Give us your Cash App, and then we can work on Bitcoin later. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, get a Cash App.
Yeah, I have a PayPal somewhere, but I don't know. Yeah, I forget what it was, so I gotta figure out what the password is.
Restricted is right on this. You actually don't need, if you have a good microphone, I don't need these headphones. I use them because I don't want to plug in my ears. That's it. And
yeah,
that's literally it. So diversify the way to take money. Yeah, it helps.
Yep.
All right, bookmark it, Zach. Let these people know how they can help you out, bro. You got people willing to help you out. Go get a freaking Cash App. What's his name? Dan Bongino. I think I nailed it. Dan, I think it's Parallel Economy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Y'all can do that too. But Zach, do whatever you got to do to help. Let people help you out, bro.
All right. So, hey, for me, just support the pod. So, support the pod so I can make sure that I can get out.
Absolutely not.
And
absolutely go help him financially because we're all in this together. Do not take this man's false humility as a real request. Absolutely not. Go help him out monetarily. Please, in Jesus' name. We've got to get everyone on board, and we have to promote this idea of individual liberty. And the only way we can do it is parallel economy. Didn't mean to cut you off, Zach, but I'm not going to stand for that, bro.
Hey, you come and watch, you come and listen. It kicks me in the gear to make sure I have I go get myself set up, so to make it even better.
Outstanding. Do whatever they're asking you to do. Get yourself some real equipment. You're a massive voice in this movement, bro. I love you. Thank you very much. I will see you very, very, very soon.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Thank you for being here. As always, my man, Zach, the I am legend of his mother.
That's right. And the
I messed you up. My bad. Go ahead.
I was just doing this.
Anarcho-capitalist. That's right. All right, get off my screen. I'll talk to you real soon. You're the man.
Thanks.
Love that guy. Love him completely. He's incredible. And you see why. Oh, mess that up. There we go. All right. Lots of y'all in the comment section. Let me ask you this before we close out of here. I genuinely want to know. There's 150 people here. Or I'm sorry, 125. Looked at that wrong. Yeah, I'll ask this. I'll ask it. Trump is returning to the very site where he was shot. This will be the first time Trump has returned to the site since the assassination attempt. I genuinely want to know. Is this guy a government psyop? Or is he legitimately opposition? Because I thought the former for a long time. I've come to the conclusion that Donald Trump is either a CIA operative or legitimate. Now he got shot in the face with blood streaming down his ear. Is he fake? Because the conclusion to come to that would be that the shot was fake. And I have a hard time dealing with that. I also have a hard time dealing with that guy's actually for us. And that he's not a deep state operative. Think about it. Next show, let's talk about it. Black flag enthusiast. Thank you, Nick. Restricted says he's legit. I've been to 5 rallies. Might go to my 6th on Saturday. That's very hard to combat. Very hard to combat. A couple more comments and then we got to get out of here. Everybody, I know it's late, y'all. I'm sorry. Restricted. He gives people in secret. Few hours what he did for I'm not going to read that because sorry. That might be the best comment yet. Trump is the most honest yet dishonest grifter. This comment brings up a real confliction. He's either lucky, really lucky, protected by God in that specific moment. Expert marksmanship wouldn't have saved him, the cerebral cortex. There's only two conclusions you can come to. Either that guy escaped a disastrous situation by probably the divine hand of God, maybe. We can discuss that later, but he did escape that. Or it was fake and he had like a packet of ketchup that ran down his head. Pick one. If you're picking the latter, I consider you an absolute moron and a joke. So, with that being said, thank you, everyone. Restricted, Legacy, Nick, everyone in the chat, everyone, 126 people watching right now. Thank you so much. Please share the show, like it. Make sure to share it, please. It doesn't take but a button to hit that share, right? Please help me out. We're trying to do the best that we can to get everyone on the right page in the right direction and the motion of Jesus first and human beings being promoted and protected. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Please like and share the show. That's it. I love you very much. I will see you all on Tuesday. And I will have an absolute massive banger of a show. So again, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends. And I am out. John 1:1. I love each and every one of y'all.